Hello everyone, it's Mish here, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by, and if you've been returning, I thank you too. Today we're going to be working in my Moleskine journal, doing my Margarete Miller Challenge week 38. If you've been watching along, you know that my journal's been heaving, and if you enjoyed today's video, there's a lot more in this playlist. What I decided to do was just tear out the last pages for the rest of the year, and then I'll glue them in later. So last week was my first week that I worked in this format. So with the Moleskine journal, it is just a sketchbook, so it doesn't withstand a lot of moisture or water, so multimedia things aren't going to work. But in saying that, glue and tape is fine. So our prompts for this week, the week 38, is a song name, a group of 3, a game or a puzzle piece, something imaginary, foreign language text, and something stenciled. So I find that I spend a lot of time looking for things. So this kind of collage challenge is a bit time intensive. Just trying to get your prompt things and trying to get them together in a cohesive way. So I often look through National Geographics, which I did in this instance. I also went to, as far as imaginary things, I looked in some books that I got at the secondhand store, and that's where I found my image for my imaginary something imaginary, and I'm gonna go with a mermaid. And so she was in the centerfold, so I just cut her out, and so that's what I'm gonna use for that. For my background, I am using some of my Art by Marlene products. So she does do some collage papers, and I kind of like the color schemes in this one. It matches kind of what I like to, my color palette that I like to look at. So that's where I kind of got my background for that. And then I'm going to get that, let me get that put down. I think this is very thin paper. So I think initially I'll just go with some, just to get it down, I think I'll just go with some runner tape and try to get that centered as best I can. So I'm trying to get it kind of equal up top and bottom. Sometimes it's a bit hard, and get it straight. So I've pressed that into the seam, and just going to close my book for a second. Okay. And then with the rest of it, I don't really need to tack it down. I don't need to weld it down. Oops, sorry, smacked my camera. I do, though, like to cut off the edges of my prompt, and I like to store my prompt in the back of the collage, just because in a later date, and I want to know what the collage was, I can just look. I can look at the back. I can pull it out. So I'm just going to tack this down. I'm not using a lot of glue. It's just thin paper on paper, so I don't really need to. So for my foreign language text, I looked at a number of sources, and I'm going to go with the French dictionary, and I tried to look for the French word for mermaid, so I have that there. But before I tack that down, I'm going to put down my song name. So I had a couple of sources here. I have a music book that is just a practice book, and that's where I eventually got this prompt. But I was also tempted. I have this other book here. Again, I got this at the secondhand store, and it's a piano series, and it has kind of a table of contents, and that's in French. So I kind of thought I could have used that as a background, but I think it was too much for what I wanted to use. So I'm just gonna get the song title down first, and I want to then kind of layer that on top. And this kind of gives my mermaid a little place to sit down. Okay, so I'll get that down. And get that down like that. Okay. And I'm just going to close that because it's sitting in the crease. Okay, great. And then I thought I would just kind of frame the collage with some dictionary pages. I'll then put my mermaid kind of sitting on top of the song title. So we'll just get those down like so. Even a little bit border on that side. And then I'm going to try not to do any on that very outer edge so I can get my prompt stuck in there. And put it, I'm going to try to get it straight too. I think that looks kind of straight. Okay, so we'll get that down. And then my mermaid girl, it's going to sit about there. The other thing I did with my images is I just went along with my black pit pen, just so that she would stand out a little bit. But I think before I kind of tack her down, I want to put the rest of my images. So for my group of 3, I have a number of things I want to use as a group of 3. The first thing is I just want to just put a little banner, a couple banners here. I think that would look nice to do a little collage of banners, but I just couldn't quite decide. I think I'll go with that. What I do when I have spare bits of paper is I have a little photo box that I get my bits of paper, and then I just cut them into different shapes of banners. Some just have a tail, some have the head and the tail, etc. And then when I want to do like a collage, I can just pick through and pick some of the items that I think I'm going to like. For the puzzle piece, I'm going to use some actual puzzle pieces. So I just have, I don't know what you'd call it, I guess, a stencil. I'm just trying to grab it here. I had some die cuts of puzzle pieces. So I just used the negative spaces as a stencil to cut out some of the puzzle pieces so that I could use in the collage. And I was kind of thinking I'd like to put that like that. And then I have another group of 3 because I have to have flowers on my page, of course. And I was kind of thinking I would do something like that. And then have the puzzle piece kind of sticking out. Have her there. And then my other couple of puzzle pieces. And then for another group of 3, just to kind of add, I found a few starfish that I thought might work well with it. So for some of those die cuts, I have a number of Art by Marlene die cut books. So I have the Golden Oldies, and then Fisticated, and another one. And in here they have all kinds of die cuts that you can pop out. And this one here is sort of sea themed. So I grabbed some of the starfish from this one, and I believe I grabbed a couple starfish out of that one. So that's kind of where I got those images. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get this stuff tacked down. I think I'll start up here and get this one down. I'm just using some Elmer's glue to get that down. And I don't need to use a lot of glue. That glue just comes out in like a fine point, so it sometimes looks like there's a lot of glue on there when there's really not. And I'm worried more about the sides and the top and the bottom. Okay, and then I'll get this puzzle piece down. I thought this little stenciling puzzle piece was cute because it had a heart at the top and a heart kind of where it connects into another piece. So I thought that was kind of cute. And we'll get our flowers down. It's very balmy today. I think we're getting sort of the side weather of a tropical storm that's going to the south of us today. So I do kind of like the balmy weather. It's quite windy out there, but it's warm. So, and it's not raining yet. We're supposed to get some rain later today. We've had a lot of rain this summer, a lot more than what I would like. So I think I'll get her situated. Just going to start with the middle to try to get her sitting on here. I was thinking I would get, she was in the middle of the page, so I had to cut her out and then I had to tape her together. I want her up high enough that I can see my song title. Okay. So I think she's looking pretty good there. I feel that space up there needs something. I might have to come back to that. We'll get her tail done. My Little Mermaid, is she really imaginary or are there actually mermaids in the sea? I don't know if we know for sure, do we? Okay, and then I'm going to put my little starfish over here. This one here, I think I'll just trim away some of that little white space a little bit better. Sometimes when you pop out the die cuts, the border isn't even. So you have like a lot of white on one side and hardly any white on the other. But for this, because the other two really don't have a white border, it just seems a little bit out of place to have that. And then I could again go along and edge this with the black brush marker, but I don't think I will. And I'm kind of liking a little cluster like that, but I think I'll pull it out a bit and maybe do it off to the side there. Yeah, I kind of like that. So we'll get that down. The seagulls have come inland when I'm not far from the Halifax Harbor. And so when we get kind of windy, nasty, bit of windy weather and stuff, the seagulls tend to come inland a bit and they fight with the crows. That is for sure. I think it's coming, but I do think I need maybe a little something there and there. I think that's just too blank. But before I do that, I wanted to add a little bit of bling. So I've pulled out some of the things that I have because I thought for the center of the starfish that we would go with one of these. Now I find it hard to peel those off, so I'm just gonna. I felt that it was kind of represented because they're shiny and kind of fluid. It represented a little bit like a water drop, or I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit shiny. I thought that was cute. And then put a little one in the little ones. Okay, and then I have one here that's kind of the color of that one, so we'll just go with this. Okay. So, and I thought that kind of set it off a little bit. And for our flowers, I have ones that aren't so shiny. They're more a matte finish. I think I got these ones at Michael's. So I kind of thought we'd go with this one here for, nope, maybe this purple one for the center of that flower, which I think goes good there. And then we'll go with a little yellow one for under there. And then we'll go with this color. It's crazy how they just matched really well. Okay. And then, you know, she's not only a princess, I mean a mermaid, she's a princess. So I kind of thought in groups of 3 that I would do a little, give her like a little tiara, I guess, or a little headband. I think those are too big. A little headband with some little gems. So if we go kind of there, and then just kind of equally on each side, we could give her a little headband, which I thought it kind of sparkles. And then she has on her wrist a little bracelet, and it has like a little ruby or some kind of little gem on it. So I thought maybe we could put, but I think there's nothing there. I think those are too big. So, and it's red, so I'll just go with one of these little red as a bracelet there. I think these ones here, I'm not convinced I like it, but maybe if I put them a little bit closer together so that they were right on top of each other. I think I might like that better. Yeah, I kind of like that better. If I had a little string, I could string that. She also has some, oh, there's, look. I'm going to take those off because she has already some jewels in her hair. So I'm going to go with these little ones, I think. We'll see how little they are. And just put, I think those are too big. I've got these little pink ones. And these are tiny ones. So why don't we go with a few little pink ones for our, excuse me if my head's in the way. I can't quite tell. And go on each side there. And just put a few in her hair, and then there's a bigger one in the center. So I'll put that as pink too. And then I'll put another little pink one on the side so they're kind of even. Alright, so she has a little headband there. So that's kind of cute. And then we have that. So that's that. So I'm just not happy about this kind of negative space here. And but we have all our stuff. So we have our song name, our group of 3, a puzzle piece, something imaginary, a foreign language. I did use a stencil. It might have been cheating a little bit because I used a stencil to cut out the puzzle pieces, but it is a bonus, so you don't really need to use that anyway. Just wondering if maybe I've got some of these sticker books that maybe something. What if I put like a saying? Sometimes inspiration comes from a single ray of sunshine. That's kind of cute. Or, I mean, I could just get a few more flowers and do another little cluster of 3 there. This cluster here already has 3 flowers in it. So I could put a cluster of 3 there. and it kind of matches the colors. So I think I'll do that. I'll put that there. So that's another little cluster of 3 flowers and 3 leaves. Oh, but there's a sprig of something there. So is that exactly 3? But then I want something for down here. Okay, so I had to hunt around, and I actually found this sticker set, which is a Jolie's. I think I must have got it a long time ago at Michael's. And there's 3 fish there. So I thought I would take these 3 bits of seaweed. Here's one cluster, which I'm not getting off very well, but and see if I can, oh my, it's stuck to my fish. See if I can get this down. So if I put, there's one bit of it. There's another little seaweed cluster. And then here's 2 more. So there would be kind of 3 bits. 3 bits of seaweed. And I'm just wondering, wow, this one doesn't really seem to want to be coming together for me. Anyways, we'll stick that down. And we'll stick that down. And then we have one fish that's kind of just flat. And maybe we'll put him down here. And then we have a couple more fish sort of swimming in the weeds here. And he's got a little bubble of water. So we'll add 2 more. So then that will be like 3 little bubbles of water. So I think that's good. Could do a little bit of stamping, but I think I'm happy with that. I got a lot of sets of 3. So thanks for watching today. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. And I hope you have a safe and happy week. Until next time, bye for now.